Hi, everybody. It's Karen Eriksson-Lee again with Living by His Grace Ministries, and we are back again with Michelle Smeltzer from Department of Social Services. And again, she is the community liaison for Warren County here in Virginia. So I wanted her to talk about HARTS because that is our local homeless shelter, thermal shelter during the winter months. And there is, sadly, there's always a need for that, and I feel like it's important that we all not only know about it, but find ways that maybe we can support the shelter.
Yeah, it's really it's an important piece in our community, I think.
Yes. Yes. So, so please tell us how that came about and because it's still in its infancy, really. It's only a few years old, I believe, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and
And
what,
we changed our name. So we were the Thermal Shelter of Front Royal and we changed it to Hearts this last year. So it's been about a year that we've been Hearts. But
what does that
so
stand for again? The Hearts,
hope Hope and Rest Temporary Shelter.
that's right. Hope and Rest Temporary Shelter. Okay.
So it got started a few years back when we just had a handful of our unhoused friends in the area, and I mean it was just really a cold winter, and there was a couple of us that thought, maybe we should have a shelter here that, just a winter overnight shelter. So it was put together fairly quickly. We ended up opening at the end of February in 2018, I think,
Mhm.
and ran for 5 weeks, and that was our first kind of
Mhm.
foray into
Yeah.
the shelter. So with that first year, we had maybe like 5 to 10 people that stayed there. Last year, we maxed out. We have 35 beds, and we were maxed out each night for a
Wow.
while, not for the whole time. So it really has grown over the years, over the last few years. Every year we have more people coming through our shelter. So what we're a low barrier shelter. And a low barrier means we take people as they are. We
Mhm.
don't require anything of them. They don't have to show an ID. They're not, there's no alcohol test or drug test or anything. As long as you can come in and, um, you know, adhere to our rules
Mhm.
and, and be, and not cause any disruptions or whatever, you're more than welcome to come into the shelter. We provide a hot meal every night, and that's
Mhm.
provided by churches and community members and community organizations bring in a hot meal every single night we're open.
Wow.
And um, so you have a nice hot meal. There's snacks. There's little stuff to eat for breakfast, cereal, stuff like that, and then you can take a lunch with you when you leave in the morning. So we also offer resources. By working for social services, of course, we can make sure people have SNAP and Medicaid and any other adult services. If we have people that are in their um, 60s, 70s. We've had as old as 80 in our shelter before.
Wow.
So
Wow.
18 to 80 is our
Wow.
age bracket that we've had at that shelter. And it's really heartbreaking when you're watching,
Mhm.
like your grandparents, like would be your grandparents or something in a shelter, sleeping on a cot. We have people that
Mhm.
use walkers and canes and wheelchairs
Wow.
that have been through our shelter. So, um, it's not that we have like a lot of drugs. It's not, we don't have people that are heavily into drugs. I mean, I'm not gonna say there aren't any,
Mhm.
but we see a lot of mental health issues.
Yes.
Um, Mostly, I would say that would be our number one.
Mhm.
And some people use alcohol or drugs
Mhm.
along with that. And then some are just, they don't make enough money. They simply do not make enough money to rent anywhere.
Wow.
And so they they're in the shelter, they live in a car.
Mm.
It's, during the time they're with us, we're trying to find housing, maybe income-based housing or some kind of housing for them. If they belong in assisted living, we're getting them hooked up through, through social services. And, we're trying to get as many housed as possible
Mm.
while they're with us.
Yeah, there's such a limitation on housing, though,
Yeah.
isn't there? That's
Yes.
the heartbreak of it all. Well, when we come back, I do think you could share with everybody how the different ways that either individuals or families or organizations can contribute and help. I'd love
Okay.
to talk more about all the different things that we as a community could do to support you. And I think it's important to note, just because we have someone that we know and love for many years who's been living in a shelter in another state, in and out of homelessness, um, and it's mental health issues. And
Right.
they when they're dealing with mental health issues and they feel like their brain is just not working, they'll often self-medicate to try to balance themselves, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. And
Right.
so I think as a community, it's so important that we're not judging, um, because there, but for the grace of God go I.
Hmm.
I think it's amazing that there are places like you that will support people that struggle to fit in society. And
And I mean, it's really, when you get to know people, when you get to know our group of people that come in, I mean, they're great. They're great.
yeah,
They're fun to talk to and fun. I mean, they might not carry on a conversation that you normally would have,
yeah,
but a lot of them are fun. They're fun people. They're nice people. Um,
engaging,
so
yeah,
I think there's the fear of homelessness, and the fear that their people will get hurt or whatever. And I mean, that's just not something that, um, I'm
that
not gonna say it
happens,
never happens, but
but
it's not
it's not the
something that,
norm.
it's not the norm. No,
And
they're very nice. And
yes,
yeah.
wonderful. Okay, well, everybody, we'll be back for our last interview question shortly with Michelle and find out how we can all help. So, thank you.